those views, we have to ask ourselves, is it right to have somebody putting those views out there? We came to the conclusion that interviewing somebody on a podcast or in any medium, I should say, isn't actually an endorsement of that person. You're not going to like everybody, and sometimes it's okay to feel uncomfortable during an interview, I guess, as long as you're challenging the person. But it does put this whole story into a certain light. He's winning these awards now, which I didn't realise he was going to end up winning awards for the books as well. And there's a danger maybe that this guy is being celebrated too much.
Yeah, and I think that's where my discomfort comes from as well, saying that about it's not just your story to tell, and there's always that level of discomfort when anyone's telling a personal story, because there's going to be other people affected, and that's the same with a lot of the other books we'll discuss. But knowing the opinions, and I guess that's maybe too broad a word because of the problems that he does still continue to have, and the addiction issues and all of that, but given that I knew the opinions he had about that, there's very little uplift you can get from reading the book.
The one thing though, I think it's still legitimate for the book to win awards. As I say, Paul Gibson doesn't sugarcoat this guy through the book. He doesn't gloss over the dark side of his character.
And you're right, it's Gibson's book, not Mickey's book.
Yeah, and the book itself is.
He is at the award ceremonies, though, as you say. It is his. I know what you mean, that it's not his book, but he's still the subject of it.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. But the book itself, as a read, like, I know, separating the dancer from the dance and all that sort of carry on. Like, people will have to make up their own mind about whether they can do that. But
can I just give a spoiler and say it's not winning my award today?
For what it's worth, it didn't win my award.
Yeah, I mean, for better or worse, I think people are going into this book with their eyes wide open about the type of person that he is, and that's the way it is. It's not being sold as one thing, and the reader discovers another. That's just the reality of the book.
It's also, like, I should just say that his first conscious memory is going into Long Kesh prison and delivering contraband to his father. That's so. I'm not excusing later actions, but it probably is worth stating that some mad stuff happened to him, and he's not at fault for everything. But I get the sense talking to him, he feels he's not at fault for anything.
Yeah, and again, the skill of Paul Gibson he said that he knew where to start. He started with internment. He said he knew that was going to. He read that one throwaway line in an interview with Mickey before, and he knew how to get into this psyche will be through that story, and that's where he starts.
Yeah, and as a small aside, it is one of the best depictions of the Troubles I've read in a long time.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh man, of the Ardoyne through the Troubles, like, and people involved with in the IRA, that was run out of the Ardoyne and then came back in the dark of night and hid in their attic for a couple of years without anybody in the neighbourhood knowing that he was actually back. It is an extraordinary life and an extraordinary time, and that the depiction of that section of it is really.
Yeah, to me, I thought it was like that movie set for an international audience, but actually none of us are that great at knowing about that time. So yeah,
no,
probably,
yeah. Andy Lee, The Fighters, our second book with Niall Kelly. I think we all like Andy Lee.
Another really disreputable guy. Has gotten away with this for far too long.
This is it. There's got to be an unconscious bias in here somewhere, but I don't know what you feel about the book, Sinead. I thought it. What we said about boxing books earlier, like we talk about the glamour. Just drop that book on the ground there.
Sorry, Andy.
We've got it back. The gritty glamour, I guess, of the convict where he trained is on display there. Very, like a fighter willing to open up, willing to be accessible to an author. It's quite clear they spent a lot of time together, and I thought both of them did a really good job.
Yeah, that's the thing that sticks out for me, that this collaboration must have worked, because it really feels like Andy's telling you the story. It does not feel ghostwritten, and that's really unusual. And if that happens, usually what it feels like is a transcription. So you usually either get the author being in the way, or it feels like a transcription, which isn't a nice read either. Whereas this sits somewhere in the middle, in this really pleasant place where you're sitting down having a cup of tea and Andy's beside you telling you his tale and bringing you to Detroit. And I've never been to Detroit, but at times I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to see this movie because I feel like I'm in Detroit. I have no idea what I was picturing in my head, but it felt right. So that's where the joy in this book was, for me, that it's not a traditional autobiography, I don't think, but there is still those kind of nice anecdotes, and you're...
What do you mean it's not a traditional autobiography?
I think a lot of it feels more like match, anecdote, fight, anecdote, whereas this felt like a love story intertwined with,
Three love stories. Andy and boxing. Andy and managed to and it is beautiful. Really, this is definitely the best written ghost thriller book I know. There's an opening passage. I think it's like what it was. It's 3 pages long, where he's describing what it's like, what it is to be there, just before a fight, when everybody is here to see you, and everything that is happening within your sort of confines is because of you and the guy in the other dressing room. And it's a kind of run-on stream of consciousness kind of thing. And I remember reading it, going, "Wow, I'm completely enthralled by this, but like this feels very writerly. This feels like a conceit that." And I was going, I'm not sure about this in sports people's autobiographies, this kind of really and it was a really kind of rhythmical and lovely, really lovely stuff. And then I got into reading it, and I was about 20 pages in, and I was going, this has never let up, and it has never stopped being really beautifully written. And yet, as Sinead says, I'm not hearing Niall Kelly here, I'm hearing Andy. And there's a point, there was a passage, and it was when I went, right, I'm all in here. It's his description of going into the Kronk gym for the first time. And that was when I kind of really went, wow, so this really is Andy singing out from this book. Because, A, the Kronk gym is closed, and B, I would bet most of the money I've ever seen that Niall Kelly was never in the Kronk gym. And yet the description, the first time he walks in, is like perfect sports writing. Because there's little throwaway details, kind of talks about a couple of old guys sitting on a bench giving their own commentary, and it's just that has to be all Andy, right? So because Niall's never been there, so it's not a case of the ghostwriter taking a really good story and kind of cracking his knuckles and going, right, now we've got this, now I can make this sing. It's clearly just their collaboration, and it was so well written, brilliantly constructed in really short, punchy, forgive me, chapters. Chapters 3 pages long, 4 pages long. You're in, you're out, you're on to the next thing. And just beautifully woven together.
There's a chapter that's just on Andy's right hook, and it's his killer punch. It's 3 pages long, and genuinely, I'm not a big boxing person. I learned what a southpaw was in marathon and things like that. And I read this, and I just thought, and again, it can't be Niall. Niall, I presume, will forgive me for telling everyone on the second audience, he's not a boxer.
We all know Niall's left jab is his killer punch, so we'll be talking about it.
And Andy's right hook takes on a persona. He has given his right hook this, it's like it sits beside him. Yeah, it's like it sits beside him, and it's 3 pages, and it's beautiful. At the end of the 3 pages, I just marked on my book, and I had to just tell people, that is some of the most beautiful writing I've ever read, and it's about its punch. About a sport that is not particularly my sport. And it was that, for me, was the highlight of the book.
I was a little bit ashamed reading it as a sports journalist. You guys were obviously a lot closer or very close to Andy throughout his career. And it's not that I'm not into boxing, but I sort of tune in and out maybe once or twice a year.
That's the same as probably the majority.
And I felt a little bit ashamed at the end that Andy's career kind of passed me by. And that because, like, I'd say when you're reading bits of this, or you're coming across fights that you every part of, you knew exactly what was happening next. You know, like, you see somebody's name come up and go, oh, I remember that. Whereas this was all new to me. Like, and so I read it as a completely fresh guide to it. Like, I had no particular, you know, no real biases for Andy Lee. You know, I didn't want to love the book or anything like that. And yet I was a couple of times just getting through it and kind of putting it down and going, I can't believe how good this is. Really, genuinely, because autobiographies tend not to be that great.
It's funny you talk about some of the fights I would certainly be well aware of, and some I'd remember. But what I did do was, and I don't normally do this, but his descriptions were so vivid, like you were saying, Sinead, about the right hook. His descriptions